We're going.
I forgot what votes of confidence was as well. And we're rolling as Robbie's thumb,
Every week.
who no one was looking at, we were looking at the
Yeah, that's like
four,
the intro.
sorry, no, I'm going to double that, 8 words that we've written down of what we're going to talk about in 4 points. Heralded
which
to
we're not
you
talking about.
by Robbie trying to get our attention as if he can't speak. Just this deaf man in the background.
Yeah, you can talk. There's
Very
not like a
crunchy.
plane of glass like separating us. We're sitting like a foot away.
Professionals up here, we don't want to like fourth wall.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, no, it was a really professional touch. We dropped the ball on that. I don't know why we were trying to blame Robbie
Sorry,
for saying
Robbie.
that it was someone. We're all very disappointed in you, Robbie.
So, welcome.
I like it. I reckon he's a nice guy. He'll be coming back later in the show to do our advertisement for Lonely Kids Club. Tom doesn't want to read the book for the mystery book that you guys chose with an overwhelming 2 votes. No one cared about this segment at all.
And the one that was selected was the one that had no information attached to it, so no one liked the idea of the Goosebumps book with the bat on it. So we're doing Goosebumps, Reader Beware, You Choose the Scare. Number 2, TikTok, You're Dead.
So, the mystery box, a lot of the times when you open it up, it isn't the brand new car, it's a stapler. You got the stapler. This has a picture of a clock on the front of it and a 10-year-old boy hanging on to the second hand, waiting for it to slide inevitably to the 6 o'clock mark where he will fall to his doom. And we're going to be reading about that
The clock
later
is
in the
made
show.
of a big green scary face though, so that kind of gives the Goosebumps touch, I guess. But yeah.
yeah.
Over 20 scary endings. So Robbie will be doing that later on, and we're all
And
very
we'll be getting
excited
to
for that.
1 turnover page point. So we will definitely not be getting to the ending in this episode.
No, it'll
so
probably
stay tuned for that.
It'll take many episodes. I think it's you choose every.
Should
page or
we
so.
make the pact now that to hell if we lose on the first bout, we're going to be 10 about this.
And
we're
go
gonna
back. Yeah. We're gonna do all 20 different scary endings.
or as many as a damn takes. Yeah, that's up to 20 endings
Is there
until
a
we get to
proper
the
ending?
proper end.
So there is a proper end. You
Yeah,
kind
there
of
is a
lose.
way out of this maze, and it's very much like the Minotaur maze in ancient Greek mythology. It's almost impossible to navigate by yourself. You need to be the architect
'Cause they have
to know how
tricks
to get
through it.
out.
They'll trick you. Anyway, we'll get through it together.
Yes, well, on to politics now. The Friendly Jordies podcast. I'm looking really forward to this, though, but we will be talking first off about Leadership Spill Part 2,
Yeah.
where the shocking turnaround result that would have probably not been that astounding and gobsmacking for everybody else except for Tom and I, who had insider information that turned out to be just
Not at all
nothing.
true.
Yeah, it was a lie.
Yeah.
Our insider information turned out to be just a big fat fib.
Yeah, so in our minds, it was like last week when we spoke about this, it was, Jordan, do you think it's going to happen? And the response was, definitely.
You know why we were so confident about that?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to expose our source?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
You gotta say his friend? You gotta say your friend's name?
Yeah, well, no one will know who. Anyway, yeah, my friend Northy, Robbie's friend as well, he is mates with some
Confirmation.
guy whose dad is really good friends with Malcolm Turnbull, and they like have tea and talk on the phone every night. And apparently,
Kind of like in Boston Legal, how both of them sit there and smoke cigars at the end and talk about life.
Yeah.
I really like that
It's really
thought.
cool.
Yeah. That was one of the main reasons why I was looking forward to Malcolm Turnbull being boss at the end of the day.
because that would continue.
Yes, because
Yeah.
there's some fat
They've
guy
been
at the
doing
end
it for
going,
like 20 years.
After 20 years.
Yeah.
After 20 years, you should come to this, Malcolm.
Yeah, it's such like a
nice
warm
thought, isn't it?
feeling knowing that like Malcolm Turnbull essentially has like a life partner.
Yeah.
And every night they talk about what happened in their day and their strategies and all that kind of thing. And anyway, Malcolm Turnbull told this guy that by Monday he was going to be Prime Minister, and that guy told his son, who then told my friend Northy, who then told me, and then I told Jordan, and then we were looking.
So
like,
it was essentially 5 degrees of separation. We were 1 degree closer than the ironclad theory that there's 6 degrees of separation between people. So you were one person away from knowing the same piece of information we were, but we felt like we were on the inside.
And I guess there was a chink in the chain. It turns out. Like
Did you talk to him afterwards about it?
Yeah, and he was. I don't know. He just didn't really say anything in response to it. It was just kind of a. Oh well, yeah. I don't know. To be fair, like he wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't really trust him to have those kind of answers, I guess. But like, it was just like, yeah, I thought it was trustworthy just because he directly contacted me to tell me that. But yeah, he was wrong.
Turns out it wasn't at all.
Yeah, I bet the conversation didn't even happen. Anyway, we were so confident about that. So we were like certain, like we were so certain. We were looking up like TAB sports bet to try and like put like $1,000 down to bet on it. And we didn't do it because we couldn't actually find if it was a thing and it was easy, we probably would have bet on that.
Very easy to say this in retrospect, but did you have thoughts in your head of the horse not winning and you having the insider bet tip? And throwing your bowler hat on the ground in the 20s.
Damn, you fucked me, Robbie.
Because I had that thought.
Yeah, well,
Were you kind of scared of putting down the 1,000?
Well, I felt like I'd just become like the sixth chink in the chain that then you would bet on it.
Yeah, there was 6 degrees of separation between me, who was the person who declared that he would definitely win.
Yeah.
I had no additional sources than you guys did.
But I guess Malcolm Turnbull wouldn't have even known.
So much more confident than you were.
Yeah. Like, even if Malcolm Turnbull directly told you, it still would have had a bit of risk attached to it.
As it turns out, it was.
Yeah. Like, maybe it did happen and he legitimately thought he would be Prime Minister on Monday. And
because as much as these statistics have been done to death over the past week, and we're all sick of hearing it, but 39 to 61, the only reason why Tony Abbott got the numbers, apparently, to stay in his job is because all the front bench is sort of in this blood pact together where they have to do it under pain of political death.
And they have this, like, hatred for Malcolm Turnbull. Right?
Yeah, it doesn't bother the backbenchers, none at all. Imagine being a backbencher. What is your job? What do you do as a backbencher? Are you mainly there to try and drown out the other person speaking on the microphone who's not on your side?
Just yelling and jeering.
What is their job? I think they kind of act as a news reporter that's obviously really biased and doesn't have a very good medium to talk through.
Well, they've just
and go back to their office is an old butcher, usually converted. They're still kind of the pig on the front that's smiling that you're taking out his organs for some reason. Well, that'll still be on the top, but they just put his head over the top saying, re-elect John Farnsworth, the Pinkleton. So, yeah, I don't understand but obviously if you were in that position, man, I wouldn't care at all about party allegiance. I want that cushy job. That is amazing that for 3 years of your life, it says at the end on your tombstone, life accomplishments, sat there and yelled, shame, shame, oh, sit down, for 3 years.
Did what was the the vote in the end? How much did he scrape through by Tony Abbott?
He only scraped through when they did the numbers later on, which was half an hour later. I was watching the coverage live on the Today Show. My God, that is a really sad day when you realise that Karl Stefanovic is constantly being propped up on YouTube as this hard-hitting political journalist.
Renegade. Yeah.
But all of his questions are always the same as, Clive, are you crazy? No, I'm not crazy. You just do some apologies about it. Yeah, you're crazy, aren't you?
Admit it.
He's never really asking any substantive questions. And even when we're watching the Lee Sales interview, nobody in the mainstream media ever asks anything of any substance at all, is it? It's always that, are you... Yeah, that was the first question. Do you feel nervous being in the position that you are now? Are you nervous that you only scrape by through your front benches? yes, he's obviously nervous about that.
Yeah,
It doesn't add anything to the conversation
What
at
a
all.
soundbite.
But I was watching it then. Karl Stefanovic comes on and says and releases that due to the only reason why the front benches he only scraped through because the front benches have to vote for Tony Abbott. He was saying this to a Nationals leader who I didn't know anything about this. This is a slightly fresh angle that obviously has been covered in the mainstream media before, as I watched it on mainstream media being covered. But everybody who was supposed to vote in that spiel was from the Liberal Party. The Nationals don't get a say in it. I love how sidestepped the Nationals are. That
Gave away
you
their
kind of
freedom.
have to,
Yeah.
you have to acknowledge them to a degree. But they are the poor bumpkin cousin of politics, the exact same as Richie Rich's cousins that his parents are always ashamed of coming to reunions, and how Richie Rich's dog has dollar signs tattooed all over his back pocket. They have a pig with cent signs over the top. Don't you think that that's the National Party's mascot?
So did
A
they
pig with cent
they gave
signs.
away their voting ability to just be kind of attached to the Liberal Party? They have
Yeah, basically they don't really get much say in the direction of politics at all. They just exist as this. They're more willing to stand in front of a cow and talk about cow feed for the shot that they have in the front where it says Nationals bringing the land to Canberra. They're much better at that. As in, I'd imagine Tony Abbott would feel very uncomfortable standing in front of a cow going, and so a cow has 8 udders, doesn't it? 6, Tony. Yeah, 6.
That's right. That's right.
So they can kind of talk farm talk, but they are the Liberal Party without any of the rights. They are second-class citizens. They're the only second-class citizens in Australia. They're a minority. They aren't allowed to vote, but they're so... I love that kind of Texan camaraderie that people from the country have. That they were able to say to Tony Abbott during that interview afterwards, he was saying, I would say unequivocally, if the Nationals were able to vote on this election, it would have been a landslide. That 39 wouldn't have meant nothing, because we're all sticking with Tony. He was the one that was elected in, and he's going to take us to the election. That's how you look at it. He's the boss.
You don't question the boss.
Yeah. They have that attitude about it, don't they? Of you wait your turn. One day we'll be Prime Minister, even though we field the same 20 electorates in seats that no one cares about, where there's more hills than buildings. We'll one day get a shot at the Prime Minister job. You just got to wait.
So if
Stop being so
if the
impatient,
front
Malcolm.
bench were the only people that they had to vote for Tony,
Yeah.
did Malcolm Turnbull vote for Tony?
He must have. He must have had to do that.
What do you mean had to? Dude,
Well, then the Liberal Party came in and said that that's total bullshit. But who do you believe more? The Deputy Finance Minister. So not even the finance. I don't even know what the Finance Minister... Why is there a difference between finances and the Treasury? It's probably a very good explanation for that. I don't know the answer, so we're just going to say that it's useless. But the Deputy Finance Minister came on to the... I think it was the Today Show. It could have been Q&A when I was watching it later, and saying that they don't have to vote, that combination is only something that's in the Labor Party. But who do you trust? That guy whose name you don't know? I don't know it. I'd be surprised if his wife can remember his full name. if you told him his middle name. I think it's John, could be Lewis. I don't know. That might have been my first husband. I can't remember. He was saying that you don't have to do it. But that or Laurie Oakes, who do you trust more?
gonna have to go with Laurie.
Do you reckon? Humphrey B. Bear, but with a political voice and mind.
Yeah, with the novel little news story at the end.
No, he's not. Okay, Humphrey B. Bear is unfair. He's more Winnie the Pooh, don't you think?
Yeah.
He's got that kind of sentient way through that. He knows his way through the woods, and he just after the pot of honey, aka the scoop.
What's Laurie Oakes' history? Like, whenever I grew up just watching him do really strange kind of last 5 minutes of the news talking about, like, having a much more of a journalistic touch than any other kind of news story. Like, and it was always kind of either one of those like, and that dog like saved the farmer and dragged him back to the mill, or it would be something fairly serious. But it was like he would be. It was almost more about him
sitting
than
on a tree stump at the end, and now it's Papa Bear. With
Yeah,
politics
exactly,
report.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is he like a really like he's been in the game for a very long time, so he's kind of earned his position?
Yes, he was in the game when Gough Whitlam was Prime Minister. He was already an established journalist then.
Wow.
So that's already 40 plus years that he has been the authoritative voice on politics before even that period of time commenced. The other fun fact about him, first of all, I love that image of him when Whitlam was dismissed, of everybody looking back at it. It's their version of those behind the scenes band shows where they have someone like our sound guy Robbie sitting on a chair in front of a mix board, which is what he's doing at the moment, and he's just always faced away from the panel saying, I remember when Aerosmith walked in, right, with their hair, and I was thinking that this is ridiculous. 1 year later, I'm wearing the same hair, still wearing it now. That's the effect of Aerosmith. What was I talking about?
Laurie Oakes.
Yeah. Laurie Oakes.
So what's the Whitlam, like what is he, this like
all the
pinnacle
other
part of
political
Whitlam's
commentators,
history?
Peter Overton, that guy from Channel 7, all of them were talking about the Whitlam dismissal, and they were all saying that their founding forefathers, because Laurie Oakes is still there while all the other people have died, which means that Laurie Oakes could very well be kind of a statue that was given life by Malcolm Fraser. Just be like, and report good to me all the time. No, he turned on me like magic. No. I don't know, he doesn't seem to have aged at all, but even back then, he was a blimp of a man. It was always got that real slow, Papa Bear-like walk, even back then. Papa Bear swagger. He, on that day, they said, I remember we were all sitting around at the pub across Parliament and we were all having a gander about what was going to happen with this budget fiasco that was happening.
This is
and
Laurie
then we
Oakes.
see, no, this is the other guys. And then we see Laurie Oakes running full pelt out of Parliament. It was the first time anyone had ever seen Laurie Oakes sprinting. They said that his tongue was coming out of his mouth, and they didn't add this, but all I can imagine is, you know, in The Simpsons when Chief Wiggum says, looks like there's beer exploding out of the old Simpson chimney. Forget it, Blue, it's 2 blocks away. Looks like it's beer spurting out. I've got in 2205, I'm proceeding on foot. We need pretzels. I repeat, pretzels. And you see his tongue dragging out like a dog going... Laurie Oakes had the scoop of the century and announced the Whitlam dismissal, hence why he was sprinting. So obviously that was the biggest news ever, and ever since then, after that day, he'd seen it all. He's never run since. What a legendary... It's such a legendary moment to give it that. That adds so much gravity to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It moved the blimp.
Nice.
But the other thing is, Kevin Rudd was his toilet cleaner.
What?
Isn't that incredible?
What do you mean? When he was young or something? What?
Yeah, when he was an ANU student, Kevin Rudd used to clean Laurie Oakes' toilet. He'd always say to him, just being like, it was a messy night last night. We're going to be a couple of hours. You know where the duck is? Yeah.
That's such a crazy
How awesome is
connection.
that? So I always noticed that when Laurie Oakes was interviewing Kevin Rudd, that he never seemed to be very affected by talking to the Prime Minister, and was always quite dismissive and offhandish of him. And I assumed that was because he was in Parliament, in power, as a journalist for 5 decades, I'm imagining. But it was because Kevin Rudd used to just literally plunge his shit.
You can imagine Kevin Rudd
Was
like
a shit
plunging.
wrangler for
Yeah.
Oakes.
Yeah. It's like what drove him to like pursue politics was just to get above Oakes. Clean up my
But he
shit.
could never shake it. He went off on the wrong foot.
Awesome. Yeah,
So, that's
so
pretty good, isn't it?
let's talk about the Tony Abbott being the most incompetent prime minister in the developed world.
What do you know about it? Because this was... I felt sorry for him. Such a crestfallen man at this point, seeing such a Praetorian Guard stern face that never moves. it seems so mean to take
mean
jabs
to
at the
have
loyal
that-
soldier, as in he is clearly guarding the emperors of Reinhardt and Murdoch. He is clearly then just kind of holding everybody else's hate away and directing at him, just being like, "Save yourself, Madam Empress. I'll hold them off at the gate." That's his job in the political system, isn't it? to face all of that wrath, and he has the perfect face to be that emperor's main right-hand man guard. That every time they need a job done,
Yeah.
they talk to Tony Abbott.
He's the
Hence why he
floodgate.
destroyed both
Yeah.
Gillard and Rudd.
Yeah.
It seems so harsh to kick him while he's down. However, if you can just imagine what this sound is, I've kicked somebody, but you can't see it. And the person that we've all kicked is Tony Abbott. Now that the scene has been painted, tell me.
So yeah, is the U.S. Council of Foreign Affairs.
And that's it.
Yeah, they so I don't know why they have this like title or why they go out and say this, but yeah, they just exactly what I've already said. They just
Well, allow me to interject it.
yeah, they just
This
named
is one of the
Tony
most important foreign affairs think tanks in the US. Both Republicans and Democrats for decades have been using the advice of these people, including Henry Kissinger sees these people as an authoritative source.
Right.
Anyway.
So it's just like a big kind of slap in the face, I guess, because they've just named Tony Abbott as the most incompetent prime minister in the developed world. And we were talking about this before.
Same week. The same week.
Yeah, just after they
bad
he
is
gets
that?
another chance. Yeah.
It's like Google Images when you zoom out of the city and then you realise that not only was Australia laughing at you, but the whole world. That sucks. A worldwide joke. A worldwide known as the Australian Rainier Wolf Castle.
Yeah.
Don't you think he's got that real stiff... Reminds me a lot of Lao Tzu. I don't know if you know, this old Chinese philosopher that's always talking in those real kind of nice, natural, metaphorical ways where you listen to it, you go, oh, that makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't really apply. It does apply to life, but very vaguely. How he's always saying that movement is synonymous with life. Stiffness is death. Make sure that you are more flexible than stiff. But then every time you see Tony Abbott, don't you think he's knocking on heaven's door that much?
Where he's
He
just
seems
so still.
Yeah.
Stone. Yeah.
He is a lumberboard of a man.
Yeah, well, he gets it. Yeah, like even, and the other thing that happened this week was that John Oliver video that went like really viral, and it was just picking at Tony Abbott, just saying like how terrible he is. It was kind of like the final like push, because everyone must have known it was kind of happening, this spill. So everyone was kind of like, all right, well, we need to like really push it in the last few seconds to try and just like convince everyone. But
so they made John Oliver's video
Oliver did
viral again.
Yeah, we did another one, just kind of like
did?
summarizing Tony Abbott. Yeah.
I know that this must be incredibly annoying to anybody listening to this podcast, because this has got to be one of the lamest things to say in day-to-day conversation, but I've got to look at that. What's the name of it again?
Yeah, I can't remember. Just search John Oliver, Tony Abbott.
Yeah, I'll do that. All right. John Oliver, Tony Abbott. I'll have to remember that. I will definitely look at that. But.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
Just check it out. Yeah. Well, that was really good. I don't know, but yes, that is amazing for the people's public will. But in terms of quantifiably, as in using data and evidence of policy, and past instances where all the world leaders have interacted together, all the important ones are the G20 or APEC, for instance, and to determine that Tony Abbott is the worst, has the least grasp on foreign affairs, is clearly almost illiterate when it comes to climate change. I love that, how they describe him discussing climate change with everybody else, and they describe him as looking bewildered. Doesn't bewildered sound to you like a buffalo nervously glancing from side to side going, where's the lion?
Yeah, just really out of his depth. It's been thrown into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah, that sucks. I do feel sorry for him in those cases because obviously he's not up for that position. He's just he's that immovable man that kind of can just act as one of those stone guards of Gomorrah that stands in front of a cave, and as soon as somebody who doesn't know the password walks past, they go out and go, "Who goes here?" Yeah. That's his job.
Yeah.
For him to go up in front of 20 world leaders and then they say to them, so why don't you think climate change is a bad issue? And then for him, in a book that I'm reading recently, it talks about how the Liberal Party is enshrined by coal lobbyists and the fossil fuel industry left and right. Everything that comes through them is sieved through that. They kind of all hang out at this massive group of friends, and so they're in this bubble of groupthink where that's the only conceivable thought is that it's a total hoax. That's his group of friends. Then he goes out and the rest of the world doesn't think that.
Yeah, it must be quite
as if he
confronting.
wouldn't be bewildered.
Yeah. It's a bit more sympathetic if you see it in that way. You kind of sympathise with him.
Yeah. Everybody's got a story, y'all.
Let's go to our ad for Lonely Kids Club.
Yes!
All right, Robbie.
Robbie, is this around the half-hour mark?
This is about 26 minutes.
This is a really good time to start it.
Yeah.
And now a word from our sponsor, Lonely Kids Club, who paid exactly 5 T-shirts to get this very good media spot, if you think about it.
Which has not been discussed with them at all. We've just chosen to do it out of the goodness of our heart. So, yeah, if you're listening,
This is for you, LKC, I believe is the abbreviation of your word. I don't know if you guys use it, but that's also... Everyone at home, feel free to use it so they get confused and think that there's another company that sounds similar to their name.
Why are you using Goosebumps again?
He sent this to us.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Robbie, do you need the microphone past you, or you? How about you scoot into the centre of us and old granddaddy Robbie is going to tell his 2 favourite grandchildren a bedtime story.
So,
Tommy, you scared? Tom, should we go sleep in Robbie's bed? This is Robbie's room, by the way. Should we go sit in Robbie's bed while he says it?
So we go
Let's not break the illusion here, okay? Let's
So yeah, the title is TikTok You're Dead.
R.L. Stein, give yourself goosebumps.
By the good people at Scholastic who... everyone listening to this probably owes them favours. They were the ones that sent in those catalogues that you were allowed to read on Friday instead of reading the dear books that you usually bought from Scholastic anyway. But it was way more exciting to see that because you could also buy little aliens that grew in water.
And computer games and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know those.
It was great, yeah.
Yeah, well, you grew up
Scholastic
in New
gives you a
Zealand,
good
so-
feeling
Right.
inside, doesn't it? It feels like a backpack has imaginarily grown out the back as soon as you hear that name.
Did you guys have that yellow giraffe that came to your school and taught you about literacy?
What's his name again?
Harold the
Happy Harold. Happy Harold, he told you
giraffe,
about...
I'd imagine.
Did he tell you about sex
Yeah, I
ed?
would think
Was it
so.
sex ed or was it about... It
No,
wasn't.
I think it was a combination.
I think he was shy about. I remember when they said when somebody in our class, the classic, I don't know, our Nelson Muntz yelled up and said, "Talk about sex." Happy Harold shook his head in dismay and said, and then the girl said, "Oh, I think he's a bit shy about that."
What did he talk about then?
He talked about how you shouldn't
Smoking
smoke
or
crack. Yeah,
And how you should
it was
read.
good advice.
Why is he a
It's a
giraffe?
smart giraffe.
Yeah, everyone loved it.
Didn't
it
he
was
have friends
the
as well?
highlight of the week for sure.
He had like little animal friends as well, didn't he?
Yeah, man, I can't remember. Like, it was like amazing. It was like such a...
Yeah, I
first
do
kind of, like,
remember it, but
proper performance.
yeah, God, where was the charisma or stay in them? They were such side acts.
Yeah, the giraffe had it all.
yeah.
That's all you needed.
Wonder if
As
that's
many
still going.
neck bones as us, and that's how he related to the kids.
All right, Robbie. Page 1. Let's hear it.
Okay, here we go. Goosebumps, reader beware. Page 1. What a crummy vacation. You, your little brother Denny, and your parents have come to New York City for Christmas vacation. You thought you'd get to do a lot of cool things like visit the Statue of Liberty, ride to the 102nd floor of the World Trade Center, and ice skate at Rockefeller Center. Okay, should we... It's a bit... All right, okay, we'll carry on. Instead...
That's fine.
Yeah, is that fine to say?
It's
Is that all right to say?
World Trade Center.
World Trade Center, is that all right?
Oh, is that why you paused? I thought you were talking about, I don't know if anybody knows what Rockefeller
Oh,
Center is.
right.
I don't know what
No.
Rockefeller Center
Well, no,
is.
I think I'm saying everybody knows about the aforementioned building. But, all right, we'll just carry on. So, instead, your parents are museum freaks It's entertaining, your mum says as she drags you into the Museum of Natural History. It's educational, your dad declares as he shows you a collection of ancient pottery.
Oh, whatever, Dad.
It's boring, you say, but no one listens. And the worst part is that you're supposed to be in charge of your little red-haired brother, Denny. Only Denny doesn't want anyone to be in charge of him. You're not the boss of me, he keeps saying. You follow your parents through the Museum of Natural History. At first it is kind of interesting. You really like the dinosaurs. Wait till you see what's in this room, your mum cries. You rush to the next room expecting something exciting, but when your mum is standing in front of a sundial, "Isn't this wonderful?" she exclaims. "An exhibit on time." Great, you think. A whole room full of clocks. Boring.
No wonder he was able to relate to the kids. I think that now. Boring.
Sounds really
R.L.
cool.
Stein knows us.
Then, Denny gives you a karate kick in the back of the leg. "Ow," you cry. "Stop it." "You're not the boss of me," he says smugly. "Yes, I am," you reply, punching him in the arm. He whines and complains to your parents. You can't win. "I'm thirsty," Denny says now. You can see he's eaten almost half a bag of gummy bears in less than a minute. "Can you find a drinking fountain for Denny, dear?" your mum asks without taking her eyes off her grandfather clock. "Come on." You grab Denny's arm, but Denny pulls away and runs off down a hallway. You follow him. The hallway twists and turns. There's no sign of either Denny or a water fountain, but near the end of the hall you see a sign on a door. A warning. Dangerous Okay, so here we go.
This is the sign.
This is
Right.
This is so this is
Man, that got dark very quickly. Classic
yeah.
R.L. Stein setting the scene in 2 pages and going straight to the guts of it.
Yes.
That's why it's
So-
a classic.
You've done it again, Stein.
This is the sign.
Followed your template.
Warning. Dangerous experiment inside. This door must be kept locked at all times.
Ooh. Do we open it?
I don't.
an option.
It's not an option yet. I thought there'd be
That's
quicker
a
than
good
this.
opportunity.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Dangerous experiment? What does that mean? You wonder. You notice that the door is slightly open. Oh no! Denny must have run in here. You think. You push the door open wider and peek in. There's no sign of Denny.
Saw it coming.
A tall, skinny man with long white hair tied in a ponytail is bent over a computer. The computer is hooked up to a big, strange-looking clock. Between the computer and the clock is a large square contraption that looks like a picture frame. You can hear the computer and the clock beeping and pinging. "It's about time you got here," the tall man says, straightening up. "I'm Dr. Pebbles." I'm Dr. Peebles.
That's pretty good, though. It's 2.5 pages about it.
"I'm Dr. Peebles. You must be the volunteer." "Actually," you start to say, "I'm looking for..." "There's no time to waste," Dr. Peebles interrupts. "I'm ready to start the experiment. Come on over." "Well, Here," he says. He places a chain around your neck. On the end of the chain is something that looks like a stopwatch. A very, very odd stopwatch with a complicated-looking dial and 4 big knobs. "Are you ready?" Dr. Pebbles asks. Ready for what?" you ask. "Why, to travel in time, of course," he replies. "You'll be the first human in history to use my travelling chronometer." "Chronometer?" you echo. "What's that?" He points to the stopwatch around your neck. I don't have time, you start to say. But he interrupts again. "Of course you have time," Dr. Pebbles goes on. "It doesn't matter how long you remain in the past or future. When you return to the present, it will be the same moment that you left. It will be as if you weren't gone at all." "How does it work?" you ask, pointing to the stopwatch. "It's easy," says Dr. Pebbles. "Press the button on the left side to travel to the past. Press the button on the right for the future. To return to the present, press the top button and the bottom button at the same time." Cool, you think. What if this guy's invention really works? Travelling in time would be awesome. "There's no time to waste," Dr. Peebles says. "I'm ready to begin the experiment now." You think for a moment. Dr. Peebles obviously believes you're someone else, but a trip through time sounds like a lot of fun. More fun than staring at crummy old bowls all day. And since you'll return at the exact same time you left, you'll still be able to find Denny and return to your parents before they know anything is wrong. On the other hand, Denny can get into a lot of trouble very fast, and your parents will blame you if anything happens. Make a decision now. Do you want to travel in time, or should you look for your brother first?
If anyone chooses to look for your brother, you are. If that means
Now,
So
I'm stopping Friendlyjordies if you choose number 2, you are pathetic. Clearly, number 1 is, guys. Am I a lone warrior on this? It's got to be the first option.
it's up to
doesn't
the
it?
people.
That's
It's up to
ridiculous
we can't
option.
we
But I
can't be
bet
biased
you-
about this.
I bet you if you choose to look for your brother, you'll like get killed or something. Like you'll lose somehow, or you'll walk out and it'll be, you found Denny. Like the end. So yeah, I really want to do option 1, but it's up to you guys, of course. And
Yeah,
that
you
was
played a
actually
really good. You gave a really good argument as to why you should choose option 2 in that instance. And
Why?
I'm just going to say now that whether you choose option 1 or 2, we're going to continue Friendlyjordies.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust this Dr.
Now-
Peebles and his experiment. What, would you actually do it?
Really
or not?
thought this out. What is it? Would I personally travel back in time, or would I go look for my brother?
In real, yeah. If it was really you, which option would you take? Would you look for your red-headed brother, Denny, or like Mum and Dad would want?
What this is for? This is the lonely.
Oh yeah, this is for Lonely Kids Club, by the way. And,
Shout out.
and thank you, Robbie,
Got
for reading
enough
that.
shout
That's-
outs, Loader Kids Club. But we'll continue to do so each and every week. But yeah, if it was me, I would like to think that I'm courageous enough to go back in time. To travel back in time. But seeing as you're the first person ever to travel back in time, and I used to try and get out of getting hit from the ball in brandings, I'd always be the one that was saying that, no, you fumbled at one side, I don't have to go and sit in front of the ball. So knowing that there's that much of a risk of physical harm in travelling back in time, I probably would look for my brother Denny.
Yeah, we're all really
but
option
this
2
is
people, aren't we?
imaginary, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it's a book. We can't. Nothing can go
Can't
wrong.
get really hurt, guys.
Yeah. So anyway, it's
As
all
much
up
as
to you
R.L.
guys.
Stein
and-
is an incredibly vivid painter of a picture, it is just a story.
Readers beware.
Yeah, so option 1 or option 2. Those are, again, option 1, you travel back in time. Option 2, and remember this is in book form, there's literally no chance of you being
Nothing
harmed.
can go wrong.
You still, regardless of that, your conscience nibbles at you and says, no, Danny's lost, he's probably scared. I'm gonna go
So
look
you
for
go
him."
back into the Natural History Museum and look
and
for
look
your
for
brother.
balls. Yeah,
Yeah, look at balls.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, to fracking.
He's kind of misled you, hasn't he, R.L. Stein? That whole time he was saying that looking at bowls and other natural history artifacts, or history artifacts, was boring. He's priming you to choose option 1.
So let's try and prove him wrong, huh?
He's
I'm
like,
like, I
I thought
want
about
option
it. I was thinking that he was saying that, yeah, that makes way more sense. I was thinking that R.L. Stein was trying to help us through the book.
Yeah, I think he's trying.
But
He
making
wants
some-
us to select option 1. There's not a story if we don't.
Yeah.
But let's just see what happens. I'm kind of interested to see what happens if we go to look for Denny. Anyway, good. That was so. Yeah, Lonely Kids Club. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed listening to that.
Yeah,
And that was
Did
I
you
was
get
doing that
feeling
same
of, like-
feeling when you're listening to your primary school teacher talk and you don't realise it, but you're kind of sucking your thumb and picking your nose while listening. I was doing that while Robbie was talking.
Yeah, it was really like warm and good. It was very vivid reading, Robbie. It was.
Yeah, how good were the
His
voices?
voices were awesome. Mr.
Yeah.
Peebles, especially.
Sounded, like one of those weak mad scientists that.
Yeah.
For lack of bench presses and sit-ups,
Yeah,
uses the muscle of his brain to push his weight around in the world.
Yeah, really frail. Like if you got to him, you'd be able to stop him. But he's, got his mind behind him.
Yeah. Just don't let him open his mouth.
yeah, whatever
Things
you
get
do.
slippery there.
Yeah. Don't let him speak.
Although apparently you can just get away. Only the option.
Yeah, I guess we have the option. Yeah.
Yeah, he allowed us to do that as well. He's not
Well, I
even a
don't know.
bad
I
guy.
don't know if they'll
He's
let
just eccentric.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
Is
up to you
that so
guys,
much of a crime?
Why is he in the Natural History Museum anyway? Oh, they're in the exhibit looking at time, so that's why Dr. Peebles is in his experimentation room.
Okay, there is.
It's a very
We've
loose.
identified a
reason,
huge plot hole in that. Why would you choose to generate a time machine in a history museum?
Yeah,
is
it's
it to
just
give
an
the vibe
exhibit.
of history to give it to it? Is that the tenuous link as to why the time machine is there? Why isn't that in the middle of NASA?
Yeah, it's
why
not
isn't
like
that in
it's like
Area
at the
51?
moment. Yeah, exactly. It's at the moment we have like the Aztecs exhibit at the museum. It's like if you went there would be some like back room, like Aztec dealings. Like, why does it go with the exhibit? He's in a room that no one can enter. Anyway, let's not ruin it.
But it would be pretty amazing if we were turned on wrong and you went there with your girlfriend tomorrow and somebody did say to you, going, there you are, Tom.
Yeah, come to
I
the
don't know, I should
sacrifice."
look the KJ. You never know.
yeah.
Tomorrow's your new day.
Kind of want to go to that. All right.
Yeah, I
so-
kind of as well, but does it cost a lot of money?
No, I think it's that much actually. We should do it.
All right. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So now we're going to talk about fracking because we're going to be doing a video soon about it, and Jordan's been looking into it a lot this week. So why not talk about it? So,
Care to pose me some very loose
All right.
ABC 702 questions where you don't really know what you're talking about, but you've been interviewing for so long that you know that I should probably ask a question now.
Yeah.
Okay, all
Okay.
right.
So Jordan,
so-
fracking. What is it?
well, fracking is the act of drilling into the ground and searching for gas using up to 20 chemicals, some of them including cancer.
What?
Yes.
Cancer's not.
Sorry.
All right,
Read your
now
periodic
everyone
tables,
listening,
man.
Yeah, everyone listening is just fully disregarding everything that's said from now. So there's 20 chemicals that are
No,
plugged
maybe I
into
should
the
just
ground. One
get
of them being
really
cancer.
certain about it, like Alex Jones, and not back down to make them doubt it and go, oh, maybe I should relearn the periodic tables. I mean, I can recite them backwards. That was my version of fixing a Rubik's Cube in 30 seconds. But yeah, no, I'm all right, I'm going back at it. Boron, Orion. I don't know if Orion's definitely not an element
element.
either.
Yeah, these
God,
aren't
I know
even
so
elements.
little
These are
about
chemicals.
science. Yeah.
All right, start again. What is
Yeah,
fracking?
because I quit doing science in year 10, and so to me it's just known under the umbrella term of science. It's kind of the same as medicine. When you expect when you're 10 you can go to a GP and say that, I've got leukemia, can you help? No, you have to go to a specialist.
Yeah, they should just know everything.
What? I have to pay $7 again. Right.
It is frustrating though. That's the thing.
Yes, it's a travesty. But what is even more of a travesty, though, is definitely I would much prefer to pay $7 to go see the doctor and for a lot of pensioners to eat even more dog food than they do now. Because that is kind of... It's still meat, ain't it? This is getting rid of all food altogether. This is what fracking does, okay? Okay, so we've already established that it pumps cancer into the ground.
So what does it actually do? It's a
Okay,
way
so it
of
pumps
making-
carcinogens and chemicals into the ground, or 20 of which are lethal to human beings in not even large amounts, small-ish amounts. Pumps them into the ground as a method of siphoning out gas, breaking up the ground and siphoning out gas through these drills so they can harvest the gas and then they can export it. Their reasons for doing it in New South Wales and Queensland, of which there's 40,000 gas wells across those two states, is that they need it to service the current population of Australia. Total crap. I don't know what these measurements stand for, but the point is that Australia uses 720 Ps per annum, and they're exporting up to soon. It'll be close to 9,000 Ps per annum overseas. So basically they're doing it to export to get cheap, just quick revenue, not thinking about the science at all, which is terrifying. To the point that Alan Jones, who... This guy denies climate change. For something for him to agree with, it's probably got to be... It's got to be as rock solid as his conviction that... I can't remember that brand of suit that he likes, but he likes a brand of suit. I was going to use it as a comparison. Anyway.
But
What is that
he hates fracking, right?
Loathes it to the point purely because his childhood home was completely destroyed by it when he went back there before, and that's basically the reason why he doesn't like it, because it inconvenienced him. He wanted to go back there, I don't know, in his 80s or whatever, and look at his old jacaranda tree and stuff, but it wasn't there. And that's why he's annoyed at it. Yeah. Not that.
Because cancer kills jacaranda trees. Fracking equals
pumped
cancer.
into the ground on large-scale quantities. True, to a degree, because it is carcinogens in the ground, so it is basically cancer.
So the method is
like
a bit dodgy, but is it that like the method works, but we just don't know that much about? Like, is it if gets into the water source or whatever? Is that what everyone's so freaked out about?
Yeah, because they use a really thin, usually metal pipe, sometimes even plastic, that protects the aquifer that they usually drill into to use the water to pump it out as the pressure, to protect that from the chemicals seeping through. But of course, because it's going underground and there's a lot of pressure underground, this thin, tiny little crap plastic tube cracks, surprisingly, and they can't put in much thicker ones. I don't know why. I'm assuming it might even be for expense, because they're also, even though there's 18 Great Britain's worth of natural gas under Australia, they're choosing the 4% of prime agricultural land we have on this country to mine on those pieces of land. And on those pieces of land, kids have started to report constant nosebleeds and rashes, and can't report it to the press because they have to sign confidentiality agreements, because the fracking companies go onto their land, with or without their consent, it doesn't matter, and mine for gas on their land.
Why are they doing it on on arable land? Like, why not do it?
Because they don't have to pay for roads. So, because they don't want to pay for a fucking piece, like a path of bitumen. How expensive could that? I mean, I know I know the roads go into the billions, but obviously they're making it. But it seems still, like it's not like it's studded with diamonds or anything, is it? It's a road. It's been around for 4,000 years.
Yeah.
It's not incredible. It's not an incredible ask the general public is asking for, and the government is saying that that is unfair.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to build it. We've already got roads. It's fine. You can do it on the prime agricultural land.
I remember watching Bill Maher, and they were talking about fracking, and the guest on it was saying, like, it's the new answer. It's the new way of getting energy is through fracking. And then there was some other expert on the show just saying, like, are you kidding me? Like, it is not at all. So it seems as though it's like
not, and even which I found incredibly odd, Alan Jones, who was a major source in me getting my information for this video, because he's spoken so much about it and done heaps of research about it. Alan Jones, who doesn't believe in climate change at all, uses climate change as a reason to stop fracking, because he's constantly saying and it doesn't even reduce carbon dioxide emissions. It's not even helping out the greenhouse effect, people. Open your eyes. Imagine listening to that every single day for the 25 years he's been on air. You just, as soon as it clicks over to 7 o'clock, it's just that sound of and then cuts into for 3 hours. Oh, and also we've got a nice message from the feathered in jackets. Go and look classy when you're out and skiing in Thredbo. You do that. You're old, don't you? Parish is a bit extreme, isn't it?
Do you enjoy listening to it though?
Alan Jones.
Yeah.
I love listening to Alan Jones. He sounds like a cross between Alfred Hitchcock and Mr. Burns, doesn't he? He's got a massive hunch and this kind of sinister wheeze into his microphone that you hear. And every now and then, and he even has that cartoonish supervillain sorcerer voice, where obviously I've only heard a couple of clips of it. We were talking about it in the last podcast of him and Malcolm Turnbull brawling it out. And yeah, every now and then he would be listening and you would hear... on top of, well, you've really stepped into it this time, haven't you, Malcolm? He has that kind of, what is that? A sinister rattle to his voice. It is radio magic. It is great.
Comparing him to Alex Jones earlier, they're the only two people that will kind of like pause for effect.
Yes.
It's kind of interesting that the only comparison we could come up with was Alex Jones. InfoWars.
I don't understand why everybody doesn't... Yes, obviously, I can understand people saying that Alan Jones is bad for democracy. He clearly is, except for in this case, man, he's fighting the good fight for us. He is basically the reason why Campbell Newman is not in power anymore. It was basically Alan Jones turning on him. So it's amazing that he's finally corporations have done something that just, he could not stand anymore. Yeah. So it is good in that respect, but I can understand most of the time people not liking him for his political stance. But it is the same as any great broadcaster of any... Can you please respect the craft of the man?
Yeah, I love listening to it.
Yeah.
He's got that... Yeah, just how he does his own ads and that kind of thing. It's just, he's very... I get why he just, like, kills it in the ratings. He's just very captivating. You want to be friends with him.
Yeah. Why are you listening to this podcast? There's 25 years worth of Alan Jones you could be listening to right now.
Yeah. Get off.
We're just having a Josh. I want you to stay down. Yeah, so fracking for that reason. But on top of this, what do you know about state government? Because I don't know anything about it. I could not give a... even the parliament looks crummy and crap to me. Have you ever seen the inside of their House of Representatives? I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, we went to like a... Do you mean in Queensland or in New South Wales or just...
Any of them. They all look the same. They all look like what they thought. You know when desks were popular that had that green surface that looks kind of classy, and you see it all through anywhere from IKEA to Fantastic Furniture, all the upmarket brands. They'd all have that. They'd all have that desk. Yeah. They just decked out in that in the 70s, and obviously the hallowed powered people that are still there that they can't get rid of because it's state politics. No one really pays attention. There's these power brokers that you have to give seats to. They sit in there and they're saying that no, look. Style never goes out of fashion, guys. This is a good look.
Yeah, I've been in there like for some excursion or something. And
what did you learn about the workings of Macquarie Street?
All I remember is them saying, so in here, it's not like the classroom. You don't have to put your hand up. Give it a go. And then like everyone just sat there really quiet and scared to yell anything because it was like they were telling you to yell stuff, but no one wanted to do it. And then Barry O'Farrell came in. And he like obviously didn't want to be there.
Was he opposition leader or was he?
He was premier. Yeah, I think he. Oh no, he must have been opposition. It was high school, yeah. And he, and he came in and just said hello to everyone and said how he like donated like a wing pretty much to our school and then left and everyone was really happy about it. What a nice guy.
Because Tom went to a very fancy private school, which really shows that it behind closed doors, even though how the Liberal Party's always saying that we're the, you know what they always used to champion? I can't believe that they were able to twist this. That the Labor Party looks out for factional interests. That they only care about people who work for the unions. Ooh. The Liberal Party cares about all of Australia by looking at the top 10% of earners entirely. That's their philosophy.
Well, they said that to us when, like, after Barry O'Farrell left. They were like, oh, you're lucky, guys. Like, he doesn't do this often, but he was kind of...
Exactly. He owes even the little ratty offspring of the people that he owes favours to. He has to grovel to their children. That's how much he's in servitude of them. Yeah. I can't believe that. So he said that to you, but while there was no one there, and obviously, probably the cameras were running and it was on C-SPAN, but no one was watching it because it's state parliament. He was that confident to say in front of that situation that, yeah, guys, just between you and me, a quarter of this parliament is named after you. Damn. So, yeah,
that's all I learnt from my state government experience.
It's a really good lesson, though, isn't it? That's way more. Heaps. Yeah, you learn so much. That's way more than anybody who even takes even the slightest of interest in the state parliament probably knows from an outsider perspective.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Tom knows that he owns Barry O'Farrell in a way. He's sort of like a shareholder.
The day I left the school, I think I lost any kind of shares I might own in Barry O'Farrell's life.
Yeah, you might have absolved them of him, but it's still though. I suppose you probably left. Maybe you might not have left at the right time because I think the approval rating is 53-47 in New South Wales. But Wouldn't it be amazing if there was the same turnaround as there was in Queensland, and it turned out that you were the exact opposite of people in the 80s who sold their Microsoft shares then?
Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah. So you really should be, when we're announcing the New South Wales election live, as we did the Queensland election, can you please be holding one of those bowler hats that we're talking about previously in this podcast? And at the end, depending on whether Mike Baird takes the premiership or not for a second time, if he
Toss it on the
doesn't, if he loses, throw it up in the air and make it do a flip and put it back on your head.
I told you so. I dumped these
Skip out of the studio, whistling to yourself, zippity doo dah, zippity dah, in whisper form. And if not, throwing it on the ground and stomping on it over and over again. Go, you rotten Peter! I should have repeated year 12 7 times over.
Yeah. Well, what do you know about state politics?
I don't know anything except for that we should be paying way more attention to it than what we do. They possess a lot of power, especially with these nice... You know when you hear the Commonwealth always saying that, yes, we've got to give more to hospitals and we've got to give more to education. To a degree, they can do certain things to it, as in pump more money into it. But all the decision-making really is at a state level. And when it comes to fracking, they decide where and where isn't okay to frack. You know where both Labor and Liberal governments have decided is okay to frack, apart from the 4% of good farming land we have, which there is no maybe about it, will eventually be destroyed by fracking if they allow it to continue. Especially, I'll tell you about that one later. There's something even more outrageous than this. But guess how much of New South Wales is licensed to frack on, that you can put a fracking mine there if you want to?
100%?
Okay, well, see, I knew you were going to choose a massive
yes. All right. It couldn't be more than 25%, could it?
All right, well, we'll
What is
even
it?
though it's very obvious that you said 100% first.
It'll be like 70. No, it'll be
You
80.
did that on purpose.
What is it?
Yeah, it's not even 80%. It's 2/3. But still,
That's all right.
2/3 of the state is massive. I don't know how much... I don't know what even... All New South Wales looks to me is kind of like a small miniature hobby farm America when I look at it on a map.
Yeah,
so
it
seems,
doesn't it?
yeah. It's I don't know, but when Alan Jones talked to the resources minister's defence to 2/3 of it being under licence was, no, Alan, that's not correct. The correct figure is 49.5%. 50%. Even the official stats that they're saying, it's not as bad as 2/3, it's half.
Yeah,
it's
10%
half
less.
of New South Wales.
Yeah.
It's 10% less.
Well, yeah, 15. Yeah, still. It's not a big difference.
So, like, man,
Wow.
I just took your word. I don't care about maths at all. I just took your word about that. yeah, Tom's right. Man.
Well, yeah, that's still heaps.
I know. So the point is, one of the parts that is under fracking, on top of this will all be explained in the video, but all right, let's give you a second chance at this guessing thing where you are supposed to underplay it so I can go,
yeah.
no, that's where you're wrong, Tom.
Yeah, I'll try
Instead of you go, 10 billion.
All right, give me a guess. Good.
All right, the guess is, how many fracking wells do you think are in Sydney?
Yeah, it couldn't be more than 7, 8.
Yeah, that's your way to wrangle them in, Tommy. The answer.
What, 10?
Think bigger.
15.
It's, at the moment, there's a couple of hundred, and there's 100 more on the way in Campbelltown, Liverpool. There's one in St. Peter's. In the very centre of the city, there is a gas fracking operation happening where you would be walking past, I'm imagining, a couple of terraces, and then out of nowhere there'll be this industrial mine, kind of like that telecom tower in The Simpsons that's shooting out of somebody's roof, and then them putting a caution sign over the front saying that fracking could be adverse to your health. There's not enough research into it yet, we're not sure, but it could be. So they've got, and on top of that, this is the even scarier part, there's 9 fracking mines, and these have contaminated or dried up hundreds of aquifers across Queensland and New South Wales. They've got 9 fracking wells on our water supply. The Cataract Dam, which is the supply to the largest city in Australia, has 9 fracking mines on it that the Liberal Party, when they got into power, said that no, that's definitely not going to happen. Within months, it happened.
But what? So are you saying that it's like it's poisoning the water source? Like, why would they?
It's
do
not
that?
poisoning it at the moment, but all past evidence has shown that no, it is. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. It's poisoned it 3 times in the last month. In January, there was 3 breakdowns. Meaning that there was leach of poison into the soil that is in spitting distance away from the dam, away from Cataract Dam. Right. So it has been poisoning our water. Not to a level that anyone's died yet, but...
That's clearly not a good
thing. I don't know. Remember when they said that... Remember when there was that massive scare in Sydney water that... And they said that it was poisonous because there was a couple of dogs that were dead near the Cataract Dam. And then they said that, you know, that they try and keep... That the government always keeps their absolute best promise to keep the water as pristine as possible.
Yeah.
That is way worse than a dog shitting itself on death.
I don't get how they jump on
going
these
into the
ideas.
water.
How do they, like...
Because again, the Liberal Party has this cloud of lobbyists around them that they're all friends with, that they all congeal with on the weekends, and they all hang out with.
It's just a truth that it's a good thing, and there's no kind of...
All they would talk about is the revenue of how much you get, which isn't even that much. I think for mining operations in New South Wales, you get 6 to 7 cents of revenue for every 100 cents, which for people that are astute in the currency would know is $1. They only get 6 to 7 cents out of it.
Out of fracking.
Or mining, so I'm imagining that they get around the same royalties for that. It couldn't be much more, because it's pretty much the same companies that operate the two. There's slight differences in it. So that's going down on that. And then the other one that Mike Baird thinks is a good idea, and this is it, because everybody just thinks, but he's got a nice smile, and he kind of looks like... that character that was the people that the Grinch hates in Grinch Who Stole Christmas. You know those guys that are always saying that, when are you snapping Christmas, Grinch? Do you think he looks kind of like the mayor, except for less fat? Just really fit version of that. What's not to like at that? He has also postponed this past the election, but has not put a moratorium on it, which means suspending fracking. He's actually going to continue fracking on the Great Artesian Basin, and I didn't know what that was either, so I've just got to explain it really quick. The Great Artesian Basin is the water underground aquifer that supplies water to 22% of Australia. Yep. Currently, it's being overmined by water by 50% because of fracking. Purely because of fracking, it's 50% more than they know they can sustainably take out. But now they're going to frack on top of that, and they know, and this is a legitimate scientific concern, kind of like when they first blew up atom bombs and scientists were saying there's a very good chance that this could light up the atmosphere and everyone and everything could die, and they said, really? Well, there's only one way to find out. They're going to do the same to the Great Artesian Basin. They're fracking on top of it, which causes seismic earthquakes. That is not what the Great Artesian Basin has evolved to adopt to. So it could stop flowing in the Great Artesian Basin, which would poison the water automatically, even if no chemicals reach the water, which they almost certainly will anyway. But even if they didn't, there's also the chance that you'll stop the flow entirely, which means 22% of Australians won't have fucking water, and neither will any of the prime agricultural land. Yeah. And Mike Baird's doing it because it's a good investment for New South Wales. We're getting some good revenue out of it. We've got a deficit. Man, that guy is... I don't understand how that guy's not in a nut house. Why is that not classified as the same as Mr. Burns blocking out the sun? That is
it's like the same kind of like
this evil
scale.
Genius. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember learning about the Great Artesian Basin. It's like vitally important.
Was this in Earth Science?
Yeah, Earth Science.
Where instead of I don't know anything about it, but I'm imagining that in the HSC, instead of wearing rubber gloves, which is what you probably wear in chemistry all the time, and maybe in physics you wear some goggles, you guys would be wearing straw hats. Everybody get your piece of wheat and start chewing on it, y'all. We're doing earth science. Did you have a pet worm that you had to look after?
No, but we get given rocks a lot, and we'd... It was really good. I liked it as well.
Yeah, you were the best at it.
Yeah.
Were you allowed to put googly eyes on the rocks and keep them as pets, or was that not scientific?
Yeah, it wasn't scientific enough.
No, they run a tight ship.
But yeah, it's something that no one gives any enough thought into is our all the water sources underneath the ground. It's under the bedrock is incredibly important. That's where the majority of our water is, and. Yeah, it's there's big issues. Salinity is a big issue in Australia. We learned about that for a long time. But yeah, it's...
Quick side note for that, when it comes to salinity coming out of the fracking, just some of the wells, I can't remember how many it was, I think it was a third of the Gull Seam gas wells in Queensland, pumped out enough salt out of the ground that was completely underground and not harming the earth at all, but is now seeping into all the estuaries and all the prime agricultural land and all the rivers.
Yeah.
It was enough salt to make a mountain 10 metres high and 11 kilometres wide. And that was just a third of the ones that are currently in operation.
Yeah, they're it sounds like something which isn't that large of an issue. But salinity is really, really important to get on top of in terms of our...
Because you think when going to McDonald's and you ask for an extra salt sachet, it makes your fries tasty. Yeah. But imagine a 10-metre wide, 11 kilometres wide, 10 metres high, salt sachet on your chips. Yeah. Don't you think that'd be a little too salty?
Anyway, we should probably wrap this up.
Oh, no, sorry. You were going to say... I did interrupt. What were you going to say about the artesian basin?
Oh, no, this is really important. Yeah. Just that it's our main... It's one of our largest areas of underground water. And that that was the question, the multi-choice question is what is the largest body of water in Australia? And it's a trick question because it's the Great Artesian Basin. It's underground.
So you knew the trick question. Is that why you were number one in earth science?
Yeah, that one question's why. Pushed me over the line.
Thinking about Tom's mind several years ago in slow motion with that victorious Olympian music playing in the background as he looks down at that going slow motion scribbling in C.
Yeah. It's the satisfaction when you see the other options and know people will be tricked on that one.
Yes.
Have to study for that one.
In slow motion, putting a pencil on your upper lip and pretending that you have a moustache on. It's your version of putting your hands up and down as you run past the sachet at the end of the race. Yeah. Earth science. The second hardest marathon as opposed to Olympic marathons.
Yeah, the easiest science. All right.
Easiest science, probably the most to do with running, as Earth is where you run on. At least 50% to do with running. You should have at least got some credits for PD on that.
Yeah, it was pretty much it was actually really good. It was the history of the universe and all the... Yeah, it was a very well-rounded science.
Would you recommend that to anybody who is in year 11 going, I know what to cheat? I get that email every now and then from people asking me what I should study for their future. And I always say to them, kids, do geography. Geography get real in year 11 and 12. I know that it's a bunch of latitude and longitude until then, but then after that, basically they should change it to, instead of calling it geography from year 11, 12 onwards, it should be called Why the Earth is Fucked in 48 Simple Lessons.
Yeah.
What about, do you reckon Earth science is yours?
Yeah, Earth science is that. That's where you learn about climate change and all the big global kind of environmental issues.
Yeah.
And
right on, man.
Yeah, it's really it's a really good subject. So yeah, do that.
What did you enjoy more, basic maths or Earth science?
Earth science.
Did you do basic maths?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that as well. It was pretty good.
Did you like basic maths?
Yeah, it was pretty...
I imagine that you still in that... I didn't do any maths at all, but I'm imagining, did you use those measurements that you used to play around with in primary school that was small wooden cube, and then they'd have the 10 pieces, and you'd make houses
love-
out of it. But they were always like,
Multiplications.
"Give me that. That's for the high school kids."
No, it was a bit harder than that.
Never
but-
use it.
But yeah, it was really good. Yeah, do that as well. But yeah. Anyway, we should wrap this up.
Modern history is my pick.
Yeah, Robbie, yeah.
Robbie, you've never got that. That's 6 of your subjects done. Now go out there and make something of yourself.
Yeah, I didn't do modern history. I wish I did do that.
You reckon modern history was your favourite, Robbie? Yeah, no, that was way better than ancient history. You're right.
Yeah, you do modern, earth science, general maths, and like you have to do English. English is good as well. And
Advanced.
Do geo,
And dance.
please. Yeah, no, I changed my mind. Yeah.
advanced English, yeah.
Advanced English.
Don't do basic, it doesn't scale well.
No.
And yeah, I don't know. What else? I guess that you choose the last one. It's up to you.
No, I reckon you should be doing dance. What other subject is it okay for you to, in your HSC, tell your parents that you're studying and then turn on the music and all you can hear in the distance is I want to swing from the chandelier. Get out, Mum, I'm studying. And that concludes podcast number 2. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, see you next week.